Fam, what's up, squad? Hope you had a good weekend. So again, it's Monday, weekly close. Let's go through the action of the week. We have FOMC this week, so I do expect a lot of volatility. Bitcoin's sitting at 115,000, so there is a nice little bounce. Last week was a pretty decent candle from Bitcoin. We actually had we spoke about going and swooping the lows, going and getting a couple of liquidity, and you can see me really starting to build up. Now we are sitting in the mid-range, guys. I always speak about the mid-range, right? The mid-range is separating us from all-time highs, right? So generally, when I look at something like this, I would say, guys, let's prepare for a rejection here. Let's prepare for a little bit sweep lower down again. Let's use it. Let's take some trades. Maybe there's some short opportunities, right? But we do have to remember there's FOMC as well. And this is where things can kind of change, right? If something comes out good and explodes and Bitcoin breaks 117,000, the next resistance is at all-time highs. Right. And it's the same thing within dominance sitting at resistance. FOMC is very good at possibly rejecting dominance as well. So we need to make sure that today we have everything updated, because in the next 2 days, a big move's about to happen. Right. And it's either going to be us going down. There is another CME gap sitting a little bit lower down. Okay. And really rejecting. And we can use this rejecting now to get some trades going. Maybe we got some capital that we should free up in these areas for a little bit lower down. Okay, and then obviously the scenario of a massive short squeeze and the market recovers very quickly. So guys, let's prepare everything. Let's get everything up to scratch. Let's get energy nice and strong. Feeling better today. Thank you guys for all the love. Love you all, and let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Yo, fam, how are we doing? I see we getting a little bit of bullishness. Everyone is 60% or 65% of the show here is starting to turn a little bit bullish, which is cool. We got to realize that at any point, things could just shift and this dump will be gone and part of the history, right? The main thing here is just to make sure timing is correct. That's the important thing. So you don't have expectations too quickly that's going to recover too fast, and you don't end up kind of maybe blowing yourself or mentally exhausting yourself before the move actually happens. We have to recap again and realize that we are still very much in an uptrend, right? We're still very much holding this bottom trend line, right? So for me, bull market is still intact, right? New highs for Bitcoin still intact. Altcoins breaking all-time highs for me still intact. Right? It's just about, is it going to happen right now, or is it going to happen in a couple of days to a couple of weeks, right? That's the big thing for us to pay attention to. I do believe that all of these crashes here are giving you massive opportunities for the long term. Accumulating dollar costing here, I really think are great entries. If you're buying blue chip alts here, I truly believe in the next few months, but a few years, you're going to make a lot of money. Right, I really, really, really do. So long term, right now, it's just buying whatever you can and just slowly accumulating. Obviously, in that time, we're looking at making some cash in between. Okay, and what can we do when it comes to us recouping faster and maybe possibly trading as well? I think this is a beautiful market to learn how to trade. I really do. Especially if you've touched it before and you're not too comfortable with it. I really think taking $10, $20, $50, doesn't matter what it is. And I think getting used to trading here. Remember, the evolution of a trader, right, in my opinion, specifically someone that starts off and doesn't have much capital, it's very hard to just invest, right? Unless you are really patient about the life that you want. If you are happy to be rich in 10 years, right, I really believe buying the best chips here and accumulating them over a couple of years and buying whatever you can monthly, I really think you're going to get there, right? I really do. Now, on the other side of that, we've got some of us that want to maybe do it quicker. I want to do it in a year. I want to start living on crypto. I want to kind of go full time and these type of things. For me, that's where trading kind of comes in. And the way I saw my journey was, in the beginning, I never had much, and trading was kind of everything that I did. And then as things started to progress and I managed to start building my long term a little bit more, I actually started trading way less. Right. And now I'm at a privileged point now where I kind of sit and I trade when I want to. I don't have to forcefully trade, to live every month and these type of things. But just know that the starting point for someone to get there, started off with trading, right? Started to get back. Why? Because whatever happens on a daily basis happens on a monthly basis, happens on a yearly basis, happens on a 10-year basis, right? The patterns, the emotions, the feelings, they are just the same thing, just happening on different times. Right. So by you jumping in daily, let's say now, and even just mentally growing yourself by trading the market on 5-minute, 15-minute, 1-hour charts, what you are doing is you're getting your emotions to be stronger. And I think that's the important thing. We've all realized now that emotions is what gets triggers the hardest when big moves happen, right? And that's kind of what needs to be your number one tier to focus on, is emotional strength and control, right? Is to stay calm in a very tough situation. If the markets are pumping or dumping, you can stay calm and work. And the moment you allow those emotions to kind of trigger and you use the emotions to make differences or to make decisions, right? That's where we can kind of tend to do more. Remember, I would say about 20% to 30% the market makes you lose money. The other 70% is yourself, right? I'd even possibly say up to 90%. Because the market's there just to trigger you, and then they just leave you to just blow yourself up, right? That's kind of how the markets work very much. So I do feel at this point of really just focusing on learning trading, I think it's going to make you a better investor. I think it's going to make you better with risk management. I think it's going to be better for your emotional control. So I do feel that if you are someone that really wants to build a career within crypto, I do think that this is currently the best training ground for you to do so. Right? Especially if you are thinking and you have this belief in yourself that I'm going to make this happen. I think this is the best time for you to learn all the skills and to grow and to keep pushing strong. I'm telling you now, in a few weeks, few days, few hours, we shall see, right? This market changes all the time, but things will start moving again. Things will start moving up again, right? And the worst thing you can do is still be the same old you when the market resets again. You can be 10 steps higher and 10 steps above. When the market starts to move, you'll see how quickly things start to change. A reminder again, I joined crypto with $4,000. It then grew to $112,000. Then I got scammed back to $400. Then I went up, right, to $40,000, back to a couple $100, probably 4 or 5 times, right? Then I went up to $2 million, and I went back down to $80,000, right? And now I'm not going to mention where I am, but I'm recovered, right? I'm basically up. And again, obviously, recently we've taken a hit as well. But just explaining to you that these waves that kind of come, right? It was crazy that when that wave came, the changes that I managed to do in those certain things gave me such a big higher high, right? And you know what's the crazy thing? Is if I just think about net worth and I just think about trading and all these things in general, right? I look at, okay, so Sheldon went like this, right? Solana is cheaper than what it was when I started in 2021, right? I think it was at 40, then it went up, but like Solana is basically the same price, but my net worth is a lot more than what it was then, right? And that for me is like, it's just showing that a lot of like Cardano is below, Doge is below, Chainlink is below, everything is below the prices we were then. But my net worth is up. So that's why for me it's build, 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 build. Don't listen to anyone. Don't allow to think. Build, get smarter. Build, get smarter. When things move again, you get there quicker, right? And in a market that has done this, net worth has done this, but net worth has done higher highs, higher lows, all these type of things. And on the other side of that, you guys know recently, especially last couple of days, I had pretty much a mental breakdown last week, right? Which was a very, very hard place. I haven't been there for probably about 2 years. 2022 was probably one of the last times that I really had a mental crash. And it was more just me kind of just turning within myself, right? More than anything external. It wasn't external. It was a lot inside, right? That kind of just happened and things like that. But again, it's the perfect stage for me to make all these big shifts again. And I want to chat in a year from now. And even if the market's in the same place, I want to say, guys, I'm three times the net worth again, right? And the happiness and the success and all these type of things as well. So why I'm saying it's so important right now to keep building these skills, because you're going to need them for the rest of your career. I had a mental breakdown after someone that's traded 5 years and has built a base and all these type of things. I had a mental breakdown, right? I got liquidated 2 weeks ago, right? I went through these things. So it's not like it's just going to disappear and not happen. So the more you kind of care about yourself and keep building these fundamental shifts over here, you're creating a longevity strategy for yourself to be doing this for a long time. And I promise you, for those that maybe did feel a lot within these market moves, I promise you just get stronger and stronger and stronger. I was not upset to the dump with myself. I was upset that the community got hit, right? That for me, and it was probably a big part of the breakdown as well. I take it to heart. I really do. Like for me, I've given thousands to hundreds of thousands of hours of education out there. And the last thing I want to do is see a wick come and wipe people out, right? That for me, it breaks my heart to stuff. But it also motivates me to say, guys, let's go. And you can see a new channel. I don't know if you guys are on the new channel. Go type in sniper trading. I did drop a new video. You'll see that I'm going pure education and pure base and just pure back to what it originally is. So care for yourself. Keep going, guys. Lots of love. Okay, let's jump in to a couple of things. So again, Bitcoin is actually looking not too bad. We are sitting mid-range though, so we have to be very careful. Mid-range is a place of rejection, okay, and it's also telling us basically where the short squeeze is sitting. So if we look at this right now, the first thing I obviously want to show you guys is we're in the middle. What does the middle mean? It means the amount that we dropped, we are sitting 50 to 60%. This is known as the rejection point, right? The same way when a token is basically moving to the upside, just want to show you guys here. So if you look at this pump here, mid of the pump, you see that? Price comes down to mid of the pump, and then we go, right? So that's known as a continuation, as things kind of flowing, right? So it's the same thing if things are moving to the downside. If something's coming down, going to the middle, that is how it's going to continue to the down, right? So it tends to be this middle to the 50 to 60% mark of the previous move is where we're known as rejection. Okay, so we mustn't get too excited just yet. I really think you can get excited for the rest of your crypto journey. I think you can. High time frame gets super pumped. Okay, but specifically in the short time frame, the next few days, right, we have to just make sure we are through this level because this is still indicating this, right? We can still do that, right? Again, we still are waiting to see, it was this over for Bitcoin? Was that the dump for Bitcoin, right? For as long as we're sitting below this 118, 117, we're still going to ask that question. I think the alt lows are in. Right, I don't think we're going to go lower than that. Yes, we can come in full, but I don't see us going anywhere lower than that. Right, I think the altcoin low is in, but when it comes to Bitcoin itself, for as long as we hold this level, it still has those question marks, right? And we do still have support sitting just under 100,000 as well, and there's a lot of support. Remember, I spoke about mid-range. So if we look at the mid-range of Bitcoin here, there's the pump. That's mid-range. Right, so just keep that in mind. We don't want this to happen and then you're blown up again. And no, like, you know, this is exciting if that happens. With whatever we got left, we go again and we push if that happens. Now, the next thing that I'm also still a little bit concerned on right now, again, this can all change in 24 hours. But I'd rather, I don't know if you guys, who watched the video that I posted on sniper trading. So go here. Why it's so important is because right now it ain't about predicting. It's about using the volatility to make money. Okay, so here's it here. So go have a look. Just type in sniper trading over there. Subscribe. It will be cool. Okay, but you saw here, we basically did, it was a longer video, but I basically explained very much to say, okay, here's my trade type of thing, but we had to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And when a trend broke, I entered the trade and then we won the trade, right? It was very cool experience over here to go through this. And I'm shooting a lot more. I've actually just made a whole list now. I'm building an entire studio. So I'm gonna show you guys how I trade for the whole studio, section for section, thing for thing, right? These type of things. It just put you in the world of what it is. So the same thing going back here again now, right, is for us to, hey, wait and let it show. Because right now, as it stands, we're sitting with that. The next thing we're sitting with is this trend. Right, there's the trend line. Okay, so to just turn bull right now and go long, you got to realize that this could be the temporary short-term top. Right now, that can kind of hit you pretty hard. So what I'm kind of going with on the weekly right now is I do think this candle is going to turn red. Okay, and it might be brought up on FOMC. We shall see. But right now, as it stands, it is telling me that we should possibly see some red. Now, if that changes, very exciting. Then we're then going to speed up and rush a little bit more. Okay, because if we do decide to pop through here this week and we do get to 120, we're going, right? And that means, okay, so it's not this 2-3 week type of chill. We have had now, what's it, 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks of slow recovery, but then it means, okay, it's time to go, right? So you guys know I've been speaking about bots and all these type of things. Right now, I'm still not entering bots, right? I want to enter bots when we're here. That's when I want to enter bots. But if this happens, things start to shift and start to change. We do have FOMC. It can create hype. It can create these things. And then which brings us to the next point here, which is also to just keep eyes on stock markets, right? Again, I just see us but breaking highs again. Right? Look at that. It's insane, right? But I do got to keep in mind, any little pull here. I do see RSIs are nice and high. The pattern, I'm not happy with the pattern right now. It is a uprising wedge. I would like to see us break through and start speeding up. We need to pull something like this pretty soon and get going. So we got to keep that in mind as well. Stock market's looking good, but it is at resistance of the top trend there, you see? And we must keep that in mind. Okay, so if that decides to reject off and come down, we must be prepared. Bitcoin dominance is still on the inside here. Again, I just see this slowly filling up. When we're ready, I see a big drop. Right, total 3. So here's total 3 alts. So my problem with where we are right now is we are slap bang in resistance. Okay, so if we put the trend in that we lost, we are there now, right? If we look at the lows that are ahead of us here, we have these lows here. There's a lot of resistance sitting over here. So I don't think alts are just going to get through this. Again, I think they're getting stronger to the downside. But as it stands right now, we're still sitting between these supports like this and the resistance. So as it stands now, there is a scenario this does pull back down into these zones. And then we start recovering. I do think, personally, just the more, remember, every week, new candle, new flow, gives you a little bit more to the story. I do think we're probably looking at November, endish of November to December. I do think we could be breaking highs again and going to the upside. I really do. Right. So that just means right now we are in this red and this green box. How much money do you want to make in between here? Because that's the weekly time frame. Okay, but if you notice, as we start to zoom in, you'll start to see that we've hit it multiple times, right? The range is really starting to move now. So we can trade the range, have fun with the range, and start building and getting ready. Next dump off though, guys, I do want to bring some exciting. When we're here, I'm launching many bots, many low leverage. I'm going massive over here with what I got. I'll explain to you where I'm at, but I'm not going to go chase something right now. Right, I'm going to wait for this opportunity over here. Okay, amazing. When it comes to obviously rest of alts, they're looking good. I like the recovery. So if we look at things like Sol's getting very close to this possibly being the low being put in, right? So again, I do think there's a bear response now first, but I don't think Sol's going to go much lower than 180. And then I do think Sol is going to be one of the first altcoins to really break through, right? So as I go through them, I like that a lot of them have recovered the trend, which is really good, showing us this was a full manipulation dump. Right, and something like this is showing me down here, and then we start moving again. Right, so everything is looking good, healthy. This is one that's not looking the greatest, which is AVAX, but I think it's the most incredible long-term entry that's coming into play. But if we put the main trend in, there's the trend, same thing. So everything's showing similar to last week's lows, you know, that we start to dip off here. And then I want to excite you. I do think it's going to move pretty quick after that. So I think there's a couple of 100% trades incoming. There's a lot happening. Now, I do want to see, there's a couple of big movers. The one that's obviously massive is Zcash, still going. So this is the coin that I shorted in the video. It was so funny. I saw guys comment, "Oh, you got stopped out." I'm like, bro, you didn't watch the video today, and I got out. I took profit. Remember, because it's not about catching the moves. It's about, oh, we were here. This is when I shot the video, I think here. So this little move over here is where I took my account from 19,500 to 16,500, right? No, 26,500. So I think it's 30% or something. But it was that little short there. Then it dropped further. I wish I held it longer. And now we're rallying up. But look at this, guys. Look at what is happening here at Zcash. Again, I will absolutely not chase this. It's right at all-time highs. I'm quite curious. I might make another shorting video, right? We're right here to the highs. I think it might go a little bit higher. I'm busy tracking it up. I love where we're sitting right now. And if we put in one trend line, right, which is this one here, just go through, put in one trend. Yeah, I don't know. I'll know when to short. All right, so not about predicting anymore. We're going to go back to what it is. And it's trading again. Right, and it's actually me getting back to trading again, which is quite crazy. But this as well. So something like this, am I touching it now? No. Why? Because I can probably do this. Same like the last video, and I'm gonna short that baby, right? In that play over there, and I'm gonna pay attention. So what is that? What am I trying to get to here? Is I'm finding coins that have the ranges that I like, right? And I'm trading the strength coins that I like that are giving me the percentages that I want. I was trading Sol. I'm not trading Sol anymore. Why am I not trading Sol anymore? Because for as long as it was here, it was just not giving me the percentages that I needed to make money up and down, right? When you're giving me 2%, 2%, 2%, now it's opened up a bit. I might be interested, But I'm looking for a little bit more range movement, things like that. So let's get into the plays here, guys. Let's get into my thought process, where I think we're at. I was just doing this here, and what I think is going to happen for the day. So these are my two plays. This is my one scenario. It's not bearish. It's literally being smart for as long as we're still below this resistance. So resistance at 117. Okay, so I do think Bitcoin's going to go back to 108. This is just a little bit of my worst scenario kind of play out. Now, what I then think happens is what we really want to happen, right, is to finally get this trend in. So we need a secondary high. We don't have a secondary high on Bitcoin right now. We have these little highs, but those are too close to count as the real secondary high, right? So we need a secondary high. So something like this, drop off down. So for me as a trader, I'm looking for shorts right now more than longs, just for the day or 2 days. And again, I don't want to hold anything into CPI, right? Not CPI, FOMC, because then it gets quite right. Unless I'm weighing profit, stop loss, and entry, fine. Right? But I do think for the short term, I think Bitcoin goes a little bit higher. I think we start this downtrend, and then I do think we start waking up later to the week, and then I think this will be the real pump. All right, this one will be the real push. We should break through, and we'll start getting through over there. So that is my current plays right now. What will shift me bullish? Let's go through bull scenario. Is this? So we will see. Both of them are kind of still printing. We should reject here, but if we bounce here at 112, 113, there is the scenario of bull, right? If somehow today we do break this level, right, then it's like this for me to turn bull. Right now we're straight into resistance, right? So if that happens, then pop to 122, then this, then this. Then I'm highly bullish over here. For now, just playing it as it is. Bitcoin dominance, this is the same thing. On the dump, I think dominance is going to spike up. I even think dominance is going to go up a little bit higher. And then soon, that drop happens when the market's ready to go up. Right, so total 3 looks like this for me. Maybe a little bit higher, but then we drop off. You can see I got that bottom trend. So I'm not going to rush any shorts and just say we're going to, I'm not saying we're going to drop right here. We break this trend, I am saying that, right? So again, I'm not predicting. I'm just really going with the flow. This is another area of why I'm still bearish on Sol. So I went in, showed you guys the bigger trends. Here's the shorter trends, right? We're on the other side of the trend line, right? So just know that this is flat resistance. So something like this again, I think Sol from here starts to drop through here, and then I do think we start to recover nice and strong. Guys, keep farming the gravity airdrop. We have another one also coming through. We're trading, might as well trade in a place you're going to get airdrops as well, right? That also said, I do have cool 2 specials on BTC as well as Bybit and 𝗬𝗡𝗏, link below in the description if you want any of these new exchange accounts. But remember, on Gravity, every trade you take, points are occurring for you for airdrop. Links are all below in the description, guys. Amazing. Let's go through here. So again, these are my plays. This is where I'm thinking, how I'm seeing it happen over here. These nice little drops. AVAX, short time frame, same thing. There's some resistance now. We may go a little bit higher, but I do see this, right, type of thing. But then I'm warning you guys, after that, I think the market's ready to go up. I think this squeeze happens after this. After this next pull, we start pushing up, little slowdown here, and then I think the big one happens. So again, on this drop, I want to launch the bots. I want to launch any riskier, higher time frame strategies that I have will all be launched on this next drop, right? When this happens, the trading accounts, I want to build them, and this is where I'll be trading this whole push up here. But I want to catch and make sure that when this big pump happens on this side, because remember, we're playing a Bart Simpson here. Bart Simpson is when we drop, go sideways, right? And then we break the other side just as quick as what we've dropped. We've seen this multiple times over the last couple of years. Amazing. Let's go through here. A couple of outs are looking good. It's just Bitcoin that I'm still, but if you look at this on Chainlink, right, it's actually looking good. It's broken through here, right? Looking nice and strong. I'm just a little bit bearish on Bitcoin, but something like this on a bull scenario, amazing. I'll just be a little bit patient, but Chainlink is definitely looking like one of the stronger alts. I saw XRP has also been looking better. So XRP is broken up nicely. The only problem yet again is this is flat rooftop resistance, but giving a good indication that it looks like XRP is going to be one of the alts that are going to recover quite quickly, right? So it gives you a nice little insight of where we're at. Other than that, looking here, not seeing too much happening other than your odd altcoins. right, that are basically moving. Yeah, so what I'm also going to do, guys, is I'm shorting for the Bitfunded accounts. So I will be taking some shorts to pass these levels. I want all three of these levels to be passed by the end of this week. They're all 1-steps. Again, if you want prop trading, here's all you got a 1-step and a 2-step evaluation. For me, it's how many can I break out? Well, it's not going in. There we go. If I pay $100, how many can I get $5,000 unlocked for when money's to be made again? So I'm going to pay less to unlock these accounts, so I have them for when things start to move more on the other side. Cool, guys. That is it for now. I'm not in any trades right now. I am preparing for a Zcash short. Let's see. Give it a bit more time, and we'll be back again tomorrow. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bring your coffee. We keep going. We get smart. We keep building the longevity of you truly succeeding in the space. Have a great day. Lots of love. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.